The West is dazzling and the most loved part of the United States. But between the darkness of most unsolved cases and the sketchy riches of celebrities, it became very clear that not all glitter is gold. Julie and Terry Dade were a married couple that live in Junction City, Oregon. One early morning, after a house invasion, the couple were found murdered. At 4:20 a.m. on January 21st, 1970, neighbors in the Maple Street apartments in Junction City heard a female yelling. A witness even saw a man dragging a screaming woman into a vehicle before leaving the area. The police were called and were searching the apartment area before they were alerted to a car fire. It was a 1962 Buick on Prairie Road with a female underneath it. It's unknown if she was pinned under it or if she was unconscious and not able to get out herself. But unfortunately, it was too late and the vehicle exploded. After the fire was extinguished, the identity of the woman was revealed to be Julie Dade, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Also, her autopsy shown she was severely beaten and strangled, so she may have been dead before the fire even started. Her husband, Terry Dade, was found dead in their Maple apartment, where they determined he was beaten to death. Luckily, the couple's infant son was unharmed, tucked away in his crib. Detectives have questioned everyone they possibly could, and with the bizarre nature of the case, it seems unlikely it'll be solved. This is Karen Bodine. She was a 37-year-old mother of 3 living in Olympia, Washington. She was a wonderful mother, but she did struggle with substance abuse, and that factor may have cost her her life. On Sunday, January 21st, 2007, Karen was wandering through the streets of Lacey, Washington, when a neighbor noticed and called the police. When the police arrived, Karen brushed them off, telling them she was fine, despite not wearing warm clothes in the dead of winter. After a while of insisting, the officer left. At the time, Karen was staying with a friend. She had left her parents' home after an intense domestic incident with her boyfriend, resulting in a protection order. The next day, Karen was still staying with that same friend and many other guests who were known to do drugs. They reported seeing her around 3 a.m. when she left the house on foot. This would be the last time Karen would be seen alive. On January 23rd, 2007, Karen's nude body was discovered at the entrance of a gravel pit on Little Rock Road in Rochester, Washington, which was 30 miles away from her home. Also, a witness would tell police they saw a small, brown 1980s Datsun at the gravel pit at 7:50 a.m. She was posed in an unnatural position, nude, and had ligature marks around her neck, and an autopsy determined that she had been strangled. But based on the crime scene alone, it was clear that the murderer wanted her to be seen. Sadly, it's been 17 years since her murder, and police and detectives are not any closer to solving Karen's case. However, her children are constantly advocating for her, hoping one day they'll receive closure. This is Sandra Smiscon. She lived in Toppenish, Washington, but frequently went back and forth to the Yakima Reservation. She was remembered as a bright individual who celebrated her indigenous heritage. She also was a mother of 3 who was currently homeless at the time of her death. At 3:30 a.m. on July 12, 2003, Sandra was shot in the abdomen at an overpass. Also, an unknown male companion was with her and was shot in the leg. He was rushed to the hospital and survived. However, Sandra did not make it, but the unknown male companion did provide a description to the police. He said it was a man who was in his 30s or 40s, and that it was just a sudden act of violence. After this, not much is known about the actual investigation, but even after 21 years, police are not any closer to figuring out who killed her, adding her to the thousands of indigenous people who still haven't received justice. This is Cherilyn Hawkley. She was a recently divorced and loving mother of 3 children. She also was a beloved elementary school teacher, so her death really shocked the community. Cherilyn was seen taking her students trick-or-treating classroom to classroom, and by the evening, Cherilyn was still at the school. A janitor was the last person to see her. They say they saw her cleaning up popcorn and then later noticed her car was still in the parking lot at 5:30 p.m. When the janitor made another round at 6 p.m., her car was gone. It's believed at this time, whoever killed her was already in her vehicle and took over. She also didn't arrive home, which worried her boyfriend, and he quickly filed a missing persons report. And sadly, just 2 days later, on Halloween night, her Dodge Caravan was found on the road, only a mile away from the elementary school that she taught at. Cherilyn was discovered in the back seat, partially clothed and strangled. The rope ligature used to kill her was also discovered in the woods. Detectives and police searched endlessly, and in 2015, they got a DNA sample for testing. And although this is a major break in the case, there hasn't been a successful match. But hopefully, this will bring justice to the 31-year-old cold case. This is Jennifer Lynn. She usually went by Jenny and was looking forward to turning 14 and starting high school. Unfortunately, after a school day, her life was tragically cut short. 2 days before Jenny's 14th birthday, her father dropped her off at school. The school day was normal, but everything changed when she arrived home. At around 5:15 p.m., Jenny was last heard alive by a friend she was on the phone with. Her father returned home at 6:45 p.m. and discovered Jenny's body. She was bound with duct tape and her clothes were partially removed. However, there were no signs of struggle, but the police did find a broken window, and they believe that's how the perpetrator got in the house. But the police couldn't determine the exact time when Jenny was attacked. Also, 4 months later, a witness did come forward and said they saw the man break in. But even after 30 years, there's been no major developments in the case. Thankfully, the case is still receiving public attention, and hopefully, it can be solved soon.